Hey guys, welcome back to ZooView. My name is Peter. I am one of the educational coordinators here, as well as one of the zookeepers. And if this is your first time, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. I hope you guys had a good Mother's Day weekend. Today we'll be talking about Beulah, our big Aldabra tortoise. Same thing as usual, I'll go a little bit about them, some conservation. You guys can put your questions in the comments. We'll get to most of them, some of them over the air right now. And wherever we don't get to, we'll do our best to get to in the next day or two. So here we have my top favorite animal here at the zoo. He has a really special place in my heart. If you ask anybody, if they ask me what's my favorite animal, it's gonna be Beulah here. He's just a really cool and really unique animal. Beulah is an Aldabra tortoise. So Aldabra tortoises are the second largest tortoise in the world. So they come off of the coast of Africa on a small chain of islands called the Seychelles Islands. So it's off the eastern part of Africa, a little bit north of Madagascar, a small chain of islands. Now Beulah looks pretty massive right now. As you see, he's pretty big compared to me, but he's not even a fifth grown. These guys can top off at about 500 to 550 pounds, making them the second largest, like I said, right behind the Galapagos tortoise. Now Beulah here is about 100 pounds and he's about 12, 13 years old. So he has a lot more growing left to do, another about 400 pounds. And he also has a lot more life ahead of him. These guys could live up to about 100 years old, even close to 150. So these guys are prehistoric dinosaurs. Now, Aldabra tortoises on the islands of Seychelles, it's a very wet kind of marshy area with a lot of woods. So these guys will actually like to hang out in big mud puddles and holes to kind of cool off. It's pretty hot there off the coast of Africa. So they'll go in those mud pools to cool off, but all that mud will actually harden on their skin and it'll actually act like bug repellent. So mosquitoes can't bite through their delicate skin in their elbow folds or on their legs. Now parts of your tortoise are very unique and special. So the top part of the shell here is called the carapace. And on the carapace we have these kind of big, almost hexagonal pieces. These are called scutes. And on the scutes you kind of see little rings. Austin gets close. It is almost like the rings of a tree. It's not exact where you can count them to say the age, but rings mean shell growth. So the more rings, the older the tortoise, or at least the better growing it is. And all these kind of grayish blue white spots where these connect, this is shell growth right there. So that's really good to see here on Beulah. That's the top part. The bottom part is called the plastron. At 100 pounds, I'm not gonna flip over Beulah, but the bottom part is called the plastron. They do have two eyes, a nose. Now they don't have external ears like you and I do as humans. Reptiles don't have those external ears. They have a membrane. So Beulah here can pick up sound vibrations through the ground and through the air. Here Beulah, you want a piece of this? So they have, if you can see kind of on the flat parts of the side, it's a really unique kind of flattening circle piece, about maybe dime size. That's their ear. They have that membrane that picks up those vibrations, so you might be able to see a good angle on that side. And they do have rounded teeth for grinding. They are an herbivore. So as you see Beulah grazing on the grass here, we have some canary melon, some little treats here. So they are an herbivore. In the wild, they'll eat anything from flowers, leaves, plants. They're a very large animal. They'll turn over trees, stumps, and lumps and pick up anything underneath, all those roots and those flowers. Here at the zoo, we give them different types of hay, timothy or orchard grass, and we'll put some fruits or veggies on top of them as a supplement, as well as many of those other animals I talked about before, that special biscuit. They do get a tortoise pellet. It's fortified with vitamins and minerals, gives them a lot of supplements. We'll also sprinkle some calcium on their food to make sure they have good shell growth, or a what we call, it's a
moisturizer?
No, the calcium. The
Calcium plus. Oh.
It's the I'm drawing a blank. It's the cuddle bone. There it is. Cuddle bone. It's a cuddle bone. It's a the flotation bladder of a cuttlefish, which is where it has a lot of calcium in there. So we'll give Beulah some of the cuddle bone as well to make sure that they have good shell growth. Now, speaking about shells and shell growth, a lot of people don't realize that tortoises can actually feel their shell. If I scratch Beulah's butt here, he's gonna stick up his butt and move around, right on cue. Look at that. Nice butt rub. Beulah loves to be scratched. Beulah loves a back massage. That's because Boston gets in here. This is I believe a box turtle shell. If you look here, the backbone is actually connected to the shell. The shell is connected to its backbone. So this sits just like that. So turtles and tortoises cannot leave their shell. It's actually attached to them. So just like how you and I like to get scratched and rubbed, so do they. So this is really important why if you see a turtle or tortoise crossing the road, to help them along. Because if their shell breaks, it's just like breaking your back. It's really detrimental to their health. So veterinarians will actually make plaster molds or coverings to really help promote shell growth on any injured turtles or tortoises, because it's like breaking your back. Now, I said turtles and tortoises. Probably the biggest question we get asked here is, how can you tell the difference between the two? So the biggest difference is where they come from. Tortoises like to live on land, while turtles like to live in the water. Now, their bodies are well adapted for each type of environment. If you look at Beulah's feet here, they look like elephant feet. Very thick and tough. They have very kind of jagged nails. You look at the back of this one, it's like the bottom of a rhino or an elephant foot. They have to climb over a lot of rocks. They live on land. It's very rough and tough. Their shells are very thick. If I took a cross section of a shell, their shells are very thick. It's very dense, their shell. They have to endure a lot of rain, a lot of weather. And lastly, these guys are herbivores. Now, there are an exception or two, but tortoises are herbivorous. They'll eat grasses, leaves, flowers, plants, things like that. Your turtles, on the other hand, your turtles, like your red eared sliders, have webbing between their toes. If you guys seen Finding Nemo or any sea turtles, Crush, their feet are fins or paddles. It really helps them swim and move. If you saw a turtle shell, it's very flat. Beulah's shell is very tall here, very high up. Probably about 1.5 to 2 feet. Turtle shells tend to be smoother across the top and flat. That's much better for them to swim. Also not as thick, because they have to be buoyant, they have to move. And lastly, turtles are omnivorous, which means they eat both plants and meat material. So they'll eat grasses, lily pads, seaweeds, kelp, but turtles also eat frogs, fish, jellyfish, crayfish, things like that. Those are the big differences between the two here. Get some more fruit for you. So Beulah, like I said, is my top favorite animal. He's really, really smart. He is target trained. So just like if you guys saw the lemur video, he follows a ball. Right now we're kind of outside the reptile building. We're not really in a pen, we're just on the grass. His enclosure is getting worked on and expanded. So right now he's still kind of hanging out in his indoor winter enclosure. But we want to get him outside today for this video. But he's super well trained. So right now it takes 2 people to lift him up and move him outside. When he's 500 pounds, it may take 5, 6, 7 people. But at that point, he's going to be in his lifelong enclosure where he will be able to be targeted in and out. So we can move him by following the ball. So he's really smart at that. He's also really good at sitting still for a blood draw. So it's really important for veterinarian care to get blood off an animal. So we have trained him to keep his neck out so the vet can get a stick to try to draw blood for his neck. At 500 pounds, it's going to be really hard to move him any other way to get a tail vein or anything like that. So he just has a really cool and special place in my heart. And with that, that's all we have for Beulah right now. So we're going to open up to you guys. If you have any questions on tortoises, on Beulah himself, so I'm going to flip it over to Jan. If you guys have any questions, let me know.
We do have a question from Samantha. She would like to know what Beulah's favorite food is.
His favorite food is going to be cantaloupe or banana. I have actually some banana right here. I'm going to probably give him.
Peter, Grace, who's age 4, would like to know how can you tell if they have a bellyache if you can't see their belly through their shell?
Great question. You said Grayson, right? That's his name? So when you have a bellyache, buddy, you don't really want to move around a lot either, right? You don't want to eat. Same thing with animals. When they have a bellyache, they don't want to eat and they don't really want to move around a lot. So no matter what animal it is, that's the first thing we look for as zookeepers if something's going on is, are they eating? Do they want to eat? Because no matter what it is with you, headache, stomach ache, you got an ouchie, you're not going to want to eat. Same thing with them.
We have another question. Would Beulah live with another breed of tortoise, like a sulcata tortoise, or do they have to stay on their own?
So they do tend to, these guys will tend to live in groups in the wild. Here at the zoo, we do have sulcatas, we just keep them separated for husbandry. They're a little different. They require slightly different things as well, as we don't want to have any cross-contamination with any bacterial diseases that one species might carry over another.
Barbara would like to know, do they have any natural predators in the wild?
Yeah, so not so much natural, but invasive predators. So these guys are vulnerable on the endangered species list, so they're right about the middle, and a lot of that is due to feral dogs, unfortunately coming after them.
Lily wants to know again, how long do they live?
They can live easily 100 years old up to 150.
Question is, why do you soak the hay that you feed them?
Yeah, so we soak the hay. Give me 1 second, there's a tractor going by. So even though they do like to wallow in mud puddles and water puddles and bodies of water, a lot of their hydration will come from the things they eat. So we like to recreate that here. So they don't have that deep of a water dish. We will soak their hay to make sure that they kind of stay up with what they would do in the wild and where they would get their nutrition and hydration from is from the food they eat.
Terry wants to know, is he like a snapping turtle?
No, so they're very people-oriented. They know their keepers. Every morning, when I come in, I say, "Hi, Beulah." He kind of sticks his neck up. He's super friendly. Most tortoises are, and they don't have that kind of mean tenacity like a snapper.
Peter, Ashley is asking, can he swim?
No, so that's the big thing is tortoises can't swim. They're very dense. They'll sink. They don't have the mobility like a turtle does.
Cece wants to know if a predator animal can break through that thick shell, or can they only do that with turtle shells?
If there was a natural predator, they could get through some of those tortoise shells. There's not too many big wild animals on the Seychelles Islands that will get through that. A lot of the times they find all those softer, more vulnerable pieces.
one last question for you, Peter. What can we do to help save the species?
Yeah, so, you know, if you can go to the islands, you can visit them. It's all about proper ecotourism. Make sure you don't support any wild trees or anything like that. Their skin and scales are very leathery, so make sure you're not buying any illegal pets, pet items, leathers, things like that. If you do go, try to find a local organization or here overseas to really help support them by donating money, by giving time. There's a lot of volunteer efforts out there for a lot of animals across the board. One more bite, Beulah. So that's what we have for Beulah here today. Thank you guys for coming out. As always, for Good PA, support your local businesses, as well as connect, protect, and change. Because you guys can make a difference for your backyard and animals across the world. So thank you guys for coming out. We have another ZooView on Friday, 3 o'clock again. So stay tuned for that. And thank you guys, and see you guys later.